In this video, we're going to find an amount given a percent and a whole. Find the indicated amounts, round your final answer to 2 decimal places as needed. Feel free to use your calculator for your computations. However, make sure to write down the expression that you put in the calculator. So notice, right in the title, it says that we're finding an amount, so this is our goal, and we're given a percent and a whole. So that's nice that we're told this, but you're not always given this information, what is missing and what you're looking for. That's usually something you have to determine, and we'll have problems like that in the future. So I just want to draw your attention to a few things. The percent is easy to find. Let's put an arrow, not an equals, because it's labeled either with the word percent or the symbol for percent. Okay. So looking at these problems, I see 63%, 23.4%, 4 and 7/8%. And all of those are quantities. It doesn't say what percent is. In all cases, it tells us an actual quantity for the percent. The whole is after the word of. So in our fraction language and our ratio language, we would say 15 out of 30, or what part of this. So the of is always telling us, or about to tell us, the multiplicative whole we're comparing it to. So here I see of 270, of 18, of 32,000. So those are the denominators of our ratios, or the wholes. Okay, and then the amount can be a little bit tricky, but the good news is that it's the number or quantity remaining. Okay, so since each of these problems have 3 values in it, okay, it's easy to find the percent or to identify it in the problem. It's easy to see the whole. It's after that word of, and then by default the amount is whatever number is remaining. Okay, in this case it's what we're trying to find. So let's look at these problems. Find 63% of 270. Okay, so we're going to take our whole, which is followed by the word of, so 270, and 63% is 63 out of every 100 parts, or we can think we're going to write a fraction. We want to cut 270 into 100 pieces, so cutting is putting 100 in the denominator, and then we want 63 copies of those. That will give us 63%. Okay, so that's why we take the whole and we multiply by 63%, written as a fraction. You can also write this as a decimal, but we're going to write them all as fraction because it carries over nicely to the other types of problems. So 270 times 63 divided by 100. This gives us 170.1. Let's look at the next one. What is 23.4% of 18? Okay, so 18 is our whole. We want to break it into 100 equal parts. Each one would be 1%, and we want to take 23.4 copies. So let's put this in the calculator. And I'm going to enter this a little bit differently. If we take 18 and divide it into 100 equal pieces, we get that each piece, each 1%, is 0.18. So that's what this represents. Now we want 23.4 copies, so we multiply by 23.4. And that gives us 4.212. 4.212. And I believe we were asked to round to 2 decimal places, so I'll put approximately 4.21. Okay, so notice you can multiply the numerators, then divide by the denominator, And it's also the case that you could take the whole, divide by the denominator, and then multiply by the numerator, whichever you prefer. I think this one is more intuitive, but this is probably easier for your computations. And now our last one, 4 7/8% of 32,000 is what number? Okay, so we want to take our whole of 32,000, and now we're going to multiply by 4 7/8 over 100. Okay, now I bet this fraction bothers you a little bit. We have a mixed number and a fraction, but we're not going to do all these computations by hand. We're going to do this on the calculator. So here's how we're going to deal with this. So we have 32,000 now multiplied by, we need to put the 4 7/8 in parentheses as 4 plus 7/8, or your calculator, if you have the multi-view, has an option for writing a mixed number. But just to use any old basic calculator like this, I'm going to put parentheses 4 plus 7 divided by 8. Okay. So remember, 4 7/8 means 4 plus 7/8. So if you don't put that in parentheses, then you'll have a calculator error. Now take that, divide by 100 for this 100, and we get 1560. So this equals, and this was dollars in this case, so $1,560.